Today is Monday, April the 3rd, 2017, and today we got to talk about this Russian attack. Maybe it's a terror attack, maybe it's not. I'm not quite sure about that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this attack happened on a Russian subway system in St. Petersburg. Now, there have been bombs found, and one bomb went off. It has killed at least 9 people. Maybe as many as 10 have been killed so far, and at least 40 others were injured. This is a very big news story over there in Russia. It has a lot of things that could be attached to, but before I get into what could be behind it, what could be motivating it, things you may not think about, what I want to do right now is show you a video of the Russian President Vladimir Putin responding to it, and also some footage from the actual subway where you're seeing people react in real time, and also the damage that has been caused by the bomb. So we'll go ahead and watch that. I'll come back. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a deeper detail, and then I'll get you guys' comments in the box below after I'm done. But without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
Unfortunately, we have to start our meeting with this tragic event. The cause is still unclear. It's too early to say. There will be an investigation, but we're always looking into all possible causes, including criminal and terrorism. The investigation will start and identify the cause of the tragedy.
All right, so you see that, you see what's going on. You saw Vladimir Putin. He's like, hey, we're looking into terrorism. We're not quite sure what to call it yet. It probably is terrorism, but it may not be. Now, when I say that, I'm saying that it may not be what you're thinking. It may not be just because you found IEDs. By the way, they actually had to defuse one IED that did not go off. So this was an attack that was actually planned to be much worse than what it was, because there was multiple bombs found. At least, I have a picture on the screen before you. I think these are 2 IEDs that may have blown up or that may have been defused. I'm not quite sure about that. I think the one on the left has the one that they found that they defused, and maybe the ones on the right were the ones that actually blew up. I can't really call it, but I'll place the actual link to this tweet in the box below so you're able to go straight to that source and figure out what's going on. But either way, they found at least one bomb that had not blown up, and they were able to defuse it in the actual subway. Oh, and apparently the bomb had ball bearings in it, so it was intended to do a lot of damage. It was intended to eject shrapnel, so if you did not get hurt by the initial blast, if you were not very close to it, then you would get hit by the debris. Because if you have a bomb in a can, the can will explode and create shrapnel just from the actual metal, but then you also have things that are inside. If it's ball bearings or any kind of other debris they pack in it, see, that's intentional to try and create maximum damage. That's why you have so many injured, and those injuries could be very damaging and or permanent. This operation could have been something coming from the Middle East. It could be ISIS involved. It could be some other kind of Islamic terror group involved, or it could be something from the West, maybe even United States. I don't know. Now, don't get me into talking about, oh, you spreading fake news, you spreading rumor. No. I'm just giving you my opinion right now, because we don't really know. We got to launch an investigation to see what's going on. Obviously, somebody has targeted the Russian subway system in St. Petersburg, because you can't say the blast was as a result of some kind of mechanical malfunction on the train. That's not what's going on, because you found bombs that had blown up, and you also were able to find an IED that did not go off, that had to be defused right there at the same time as the blast. So obviously it's an attack from somebody or some people. The question is, who did it? It's a classic who done it. It could be the usual suspects that always do things like this in Europe, the Islamic terrorists, or it could be somebody trying to make Russia become destabilized, or to scare them, or to make Russia appear as they're not immune to any kind of terror. It could be trying to fuel this whole Russia's a bad place. They could try to frame it on somebody that's a Russian national, and that's easy to do, actually, because you have Chechnya, which is in the Russian Federation. That's like to the extreme south of Russia. in the Caucasus region, not far from the Middle East. You have terrorists that come from there. The Boston bombers came from there. So they could say, okay, they're a Chechen national. They can involve Turkey in it because there are a few Chechen nationals that have committed terror attacks in Russia after they've gone to Syria. You know, they go to Syria, get trained about how to become a jihadist, and then come back to Russia and engage in terror attacks. Now, some of them actually fled to Turkey. So what if, here's a scenario for you. What if you have a Chechen national that fled to Syria, became a jihadist, came back to Russia, committed this terror attack, and then fled back to Turkey? Now you got a situation to where Russia's like, hey, you are harboring a fugitive that has killed 10 Russian Federation citizens. We need to get them extradited back. And what if Erdogan's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep them right here. That's going to be a very tricky situation because remember, Turkey is right there bordered with Syria. Russia is helping Syria, and the United States is also in Syria, plus China. That's a bad combination right there. So this could be something to try and spark more Russian aggression in that region, not just to try and control the situation happening in Syria, but also to be against Erdogan and his regime that's trying to become more of a totalitarian regime because he's harboring fugitives that came from the Russian Federation that engaged in a terror attack in the Russian Federation. So that's just my opinion about it. I think it could be much deeper than a simple terror attack. I mean, you see stuff that happens in Western Europe, you know, with people driving the trucks and hitting people, people getting out and stabbing people. The same thing happens here in the U.S., not quite to the level it happens in Europe, but those things you could pretty much say, okay, that's ISIS involved, that's Daesh, or whatever you want to call it. That's simple Islamic terrorism that happens all the time. But this one may be a little bit different because maybe it's just me being in the West, but I don't hear about too many Russian terror attacks happening, especially not in a place like St. Petersburg, maybe down in Chechnya, etc., but not necessarily in St. Petersburg and definitely not Moscow. So again, this is just a preliminary thing. This has just happened today, Monday, April the 3rd, 2017. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds in the near future here. So what do you think? Do you think that this was kind of like a CIA, Mossad, or something that is not your typical terror attack coming from ISIS, Daesh, or just some regular radical Islamist? Or do you think that's like tinfoil hat Alex Jones? Big up to Alex Jones. I'm not trying to say anything against him, but people say that Alex Jones is this conspiracy theorist. I think he is a good person for conservatism in general, but I digress off of that point. But do you think that this is a conspiracy theory that is, you know, no more than just some random guy that wanted to do terror? It's not Islamic involved. It's not CIA involved. It's not any kind of rogue actor that wants to make Russia look bad, that has a lot of money behind them. It's a simple terror attack that they were able to get on a subway with pipe bombs or some kind of IED. That's my question there. How are you able to get IEDs on the subway anyway? Multiple IEDs. How are you able to do that? See, that right there to me denotes intelligence that goes beyond one individual that is not really trained in how to do this. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace. I have an update since I first recorded this video. There's been some new information that's been released. You see the picture of the person on the screen before you. That is a suspected terrorist suspect at this point. You know, you can see the big beard. You can see the Islamic dress. So you pretty much know what's going on with that. That's pretty much all we got for now. They look like they could be white. They could be from the Chechnya area, which is kind of goes to what I was saying, that it could be something that would really spark off something with Syria, Turkey, etc. But we'll keep an eye on it. That's all I got for now. But until I catch you guys next time, I'm out. Peace.